On a winter night quiet enough to hear your own heartbeat, a single dad sent the wrong text and unknowingly opened the door to the one person who could save him. Some stories begin with a stumble, some with a secret, and some with a message sent by tired hands. Stay with us. This one might remind you how love finds the lonely, and subscribe for more tender and heartfelt tales. Snow pressed softly against the apartment windows, as though the night was trying to whisper its way in. Evan Ward stood in the dim light of the kitchen, exhausted in a way only single fathers understood, a weariness that settled deep, past bone, past thought, into something quieter and more fragile. Lila's small voice floated from the hallway. "Daddy, are you coming to tuck me in?" He forced a smile. "Yes, sweetheart. I'm right behind you." After settling her into bed, smoothing the blanket the way she liked, corners folded under, one edge loose near her chin, he stepped out into the hall and pulled out his phone. He meant to send a quick message to his sister, a simple attempt at connection before another long night. "I miss you." He tapped send, and then froze. The contact name at the top of the screen wasn't his sister's. It was Rowan Hale, his boss, his meticulous, unreadable, and possibly collected boss, a woman whose presence made entire offices fall silent, a woman whose approval felt like winter sunlight, rare, steady, and far too bright for someone like him. He stared at the text. Read it again, and again. Panic opened inside him like a sudden drop. "Oh God," he whispered. The phone felt heavier. His pulse kicked too hard. His breath came shallow. He imagined her reading it, imagined the tightening of her shoulders, imagined the cold silence that might follow. Rowan ran the department with precision. There was no room for blurred lines. Certainly no room for clumsy affection from a single father who couldn't even pay half his bills on time. He typed, "That was meant for someone else. I'm so sorry." Deleted it. Rewrote it. Deleted it again. Nothing felt right. Nothing felt safe. He imagined the worst: termination, disciplinary meetings, losing the stability he'd fought so painfully to keep. And worse, he imagined failing Lila. Everything he did, every hour of overtime, every sacrifice of sleep, was for her. When he looked up, Lila was standing in the doorway, clutching her old stuffed bear by the arm. "Daddy," he swallowed his panic. "Just a work thing, baby. Go on, get some rest." She didn't believe him. She never missed the tremor in his voice. But she crossed the room, wrapped her tiny arms around his waist, and whispered with the seriousness only a child could carry, "You're not alone, okay?" He held her a moment longer than usual. When she went back to bed, silence returned. Rowan still hadn't replied. Silence was worse than rejection. Silence meant judgment. Hours passed. Snow deepened. The building settled into its nighttime hum. Evan sat on the couch with the lights off, lit only by the faint glow of street lamps threading through the blinds. He tried to breathe normally. He failed. He typed new apologies in drafts he couldn't send. It was past 11 when a single, firm knock echoed through the hallway. He jolted upright. A second knock. Quieter but unmistakable. No one visited this late. No one visited at all. He opened the door. Rowan Hale stood there, wrapped in a deep navy coat, dusted with snow. Her dark hair was slightly damp, framing her face in soft, loosened strands. She looked nothing like the distant woman who commanded meeting rooms. Her posture was hesitant, her expression caught somewhere between resolve and fear. "Evan," she said quietly, "may I come in?" His throat closed. He stepped aside. Lila peeked from her bedroom doorway. Rowan spotted her and crouched with unexpected gentleness. "Hi, Lila. I'm sorry for coming so late." Lila blinked sleepily. "It's okay. Daddy gets scared at night sometimes." Heat crept into Evan's face. Rowan turned toward him, something fragile flickering in her eyes. Not judgment. Something softer. When Lila returned to bed, Rowan took off her coat and held a small file in her hands, its corners worn as if carried for months. There's something I need to tell you, she said. Evan's breath tightened. She opened the file slowly. I know you thought the text was inappropriate, she continued, but I didn't come because of that. Not really. Her voice steadied with difficulty. Evan, I've been helping you behind the scenes. For a long time. He stared. Helping me? With what? The file opened to letters, printed emails, notes from social workers. And then he saw his own name. Child services, custody risk evaluations, financial instability alerts. His stomach dropped. Rowan's voice lowered. Months ago, a report was filed suggesting you were unable to provide adequate stability for your daughter. It wasn't malicious, just a misunderstanding, but it could have cost you everything. Her fingers brushed the pages as though ashamed of touching them. I had connections. Influence. I used it. I made sure the case didn't escalate. I made sure you kept custody. He blinked hard. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want you to feel indebted. She exhaled through barely steady composure. And because I saw how hard you were trying. You never asked for help. You carried everything alone. I wanted to protect that dignity. The apartment felt too small for the moment. His voice cracked. You saved my daughter. No, she corrected gently. You did. I just kept the world from interfering. He sank onto the couch. Emotion rose like water, slow and unstoppable. I thought you were going to fire me. She shook her head, stepping closer. Your message didn't upset me. A pause, soft and breaking. It hurt only because I realized it wasn't meant for me. He looked up sharply. Her eyes held something he had never seen in her. Vulnerability, unguarded and trembling. Before he could speak, the lights went out. The storm had cut the power. The apartment fell into darkness. Evan found a candle, lit it, and placed it on the coffee table. Its warm circle filled the room with a gentle glow. Rowan sat beside him, close enough that the edges of their shadows blended. They talked quietly in that flickering half-world, about fear, loneliness, long days, rituals that kept them sane. Evan admitted something he had never told anyone. When things get too heavy, he said, I write letters I never send, to people I wish I could trust. Rowan's breath softened. Have you ever written one to me? He hesitated, then nodded. May I read it? She asked. His chest tightened, but he reached into a drawer, pulled out a folded sheet, and handed it to her. She read by candlelight. His simple handwriting, his clumsy hope, his gratitude for her steadiness, his wish that he could talk to her without feeling small. When she finished, silence wrapped around them like fabric. My ritual, she whispered, is pushing people away first, so they can't be the ones to leave. He looked at her carefully. Is that what you're doing now? She shook her head. No. Tonight I didn't want to be distant. Her voice trembled. Your message. I didn't think it was a mistake. I thought it was a truth you didn't mean to say out loud. Their hands brushed. Not intentionally. Not exactly. But neither moved away. A single, charged touch that held more confession than any sentence could carry. The storm softened outside, snow falling slower, gentler. Eventually, Rowan stood to leave. She slipped into her coat, but her movements were different now, slower, reluctant. Lila shuffled out, hair tangled from sleep. Will you come back? She asked softly. Rowan's breath paused. Evan met her eyes. Something opened inside him, quiet and certain. She will, he said. Rowan knelt to tuck a loose strand of hair behind Lila's ear. It was a gesture so tender it almost undid him. At the door, Rowan hesitated. Evan stepped closer. I think, his voice barely rose, I think I meant that text more than I realized. Her eyes warmed, brighter than the candle. I hoped you did. She stepped into the hallway, snow swirling behind her. Halfway down, she turned. He was still watching her, leaning against the doorway like a man who had finally found solid ground. and she smiled small, disbelieving, hopeful. Some mistakes were not mistakes at all. Some were doors waiting to open. Stories like this remind us that a single message can change a life. If you want more tender, human tales like this, don't forget to subscribe for the next one.